Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you on a journey that blurs the line between genius and madness, between bold innovation and sheer insanity. You see, to carve out a legacy that echoes through the ages, champions have to be willing to walk that fine line, to push themselves and their ideas beyond the realms of common sense. For them, good enough is never good enough. They don't just want to win, they want to redefine what winning means. Think about Mike Tyson, the boxer who didn't just swing his fists. He orchestrated punches like a conductor leads a symphony. His left hook wasn't just powerful, it was poetry in motion, perfected over hundreds of hours of practice. And then there's Tiger Woods, who, even at the height of his career, would still hit 300 balls a day just to make sure his swing was always on point. Kobe Bryant, with his relentless pursuit of excellence, turned his footwork into a near-obsessive masterpiece. These aren't just athletes. They're artists, craftsmen of their respective trades. They didn't settle for the status quo. They demanded more, asked questions others were too afraid to ask, like, we're already winning. How can we win harder? Now take this mindset and apply it to the world of motorsports, where engineering meets adrenaline. It's a world that's constantly shifting gears, literally and metaphorically, and where legends are made on the razor's edge of mechanical innovation. Let me tell you about one particular story that shook this world to its core. It's the story of Audi and the daring experiment that no one saw coming. The creation of the Audi R10 TDI. Now, I know what you're thinking. Diesel? In a race car? Isn't that the stuff they put in trucks and tractors? Isn't it the slow, lumbering fuel that produces that oh-so-charming black smoke? Well, in the early 2000s, that was exactly what everyone thought. Diesel was reliable and efficient, sure, but race car material? Absolutely not. But that's where Audi came in, ready to challenge everything we thought we knew. In the early 2000s, Audi was already at the top of their game, especially at the legendary 24 Hours of Le Mans, a race that isn't just a race, but an endurance test that's basically the Olympics of motorsports. Le Mans is brutal, a 24-hour marathon where cars and drivers push themselves to the limit. Winning here requires a perfect balance of speed, reliability, and sheer willpower. And, by the mid-2000s, Audi had dominated, winning with their R8 series in 2000, 2001, 2002, 2004, and 2005. But Audi wasn't content with just resting on its laurels. No, they had a different idea, a wild, audacious idea. They were going to enter Le Mans with a diesel engine. That's right, diesel. The fuel that motorsport purists love to hate, and for good reason. Diesel engines were known for being heavy, large, and sluggish. Sure, they were reliable and fuel efficient, but they couldn't rev high enough to produce the raw power that gasoline engines did. Racing engines at Le Mans needed to be fast, agile, and compact. A diesel engine on paper was none of these things. It was the underdog, the tortoise in a field of hares. But if anyone was going to take this underdog and turn it into a winner, it was Audi. Leading the charge was Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, the head of Audi Sport at the time. He was the visionary who said, let's throw out the rulebook and create something that'll blow everyone's minds. Enter Ulrich Baretsky, the engine designer tasked with making this seemingly impossible dream a reality. And Baretsky, along with his team of engineers, set out to challenge every stereotype about diesel engines. The first hurdle? Weight. Diesel engines were notoriously heavy, but Baretsky's team developed a lightweight aluminum block, shaving off enough weight to make the engine manageable for racing. The second challenge was power. Diesel engines couldn't rev as high as gasoline engines, limiting their peak power. Audi's solution? Turbocharging. But not just any turbocharging. Advanced twin-turbo technology that would push the R10's V12 engine to produce an eye-popping 650 horsepower and a jaw-dropping 100 Nm of torque. To put that in perspective, that's enough torque to make you feel like you're being launched off the surface of the Earth. But horsepower wasn't the only magic trick up their sleeves. They introduced a high-pressure common rail injection system that could deliver fuel at up to 23,000 psi. That's more pressure than most people can handle during a holiday family dinner. This system enabled efficient combustion, which not only boosted power, but also maintained that all-important diesel fuel efficiency. Now, if you've ever been on a racetrack, you know that pit stops can make or break a race. At Le Mans, pit stops happen a lot, around every 45 minutes if you're lucky. And here's the thing, the fastest car in the world is useless if it has to pit every 10 minutes. That's where Audi's diesel magic came into play. With better fuel efficiency, their R10s didn't need to refuel as often as the competition. This meant fewer pit stops, less downtime, and more time spent where it really mattered, on the track. But Audi didn't just stop at the engine. They needed a chassis that could handle the power and torque without compromising on agility. So, they teamed up with Dallara, experts in race car design, to create an ultralight chassis that perfectly balanced the engine's weight. They even mounted the engine low and forward to improve weight distribution. This design choice not only optimized handling, but also gave the car that distinct, aggressive open-top look that turned heads long before the engines roared to life. The Audi R10 TDI was ready. But even with all this engineering brilliance, they needed drivers with the guts and skill to pilot this beast for 24 straight hours on one of the most challenging tracks in the world. Audi didn't skimp on talent. They brought in 5-time Le Mans winner Frank Biella, former Formula One driver Emanuele Pirro, and endurance racing specialist Marco Werner. In the second car, they had Tom Christensen, Mr. Le Mans himself, who already had 6 victories under his belt, alongside Dindo Capello and the legendary Alan McNish. As race day approached, excitement was building. But so was the tension. Audi wasn't the only one bringing their A-game. Pescarolo Sport, a team founded by former Le Mans driver Henri Pescarolo, had an ace up their sleeve, the Pescarolo C60 Hybrid, powered by a Judd V10 engine known for its speed and reliability. The stage was set for a showdown like no other. The race kicked off, and the roar of engines filled the air. Spectators and millions of viewers watched as the cars tore through the track under the blazing sun and into the dark, starlit night. And what they saw left them speechless. The Audi R10 TDI wasn't just competitive, it was dominating. It was fast, fuel-efficient, and, most shockingly, quiet. This 650 horsepower monster was whisper quiet compared to its gasoline counterparts. Fans in the stands were probably thinking, wait, is that a race car? Or did someone just drive a luxury sedan onto the track? But it wasn't all smooth sailing. At 3:47 a.m., an issue with the 5th gear forced one of the R10s into an unscheduled pit stop. The mechanics, with their hearts racing as fast as the engines, managed to fix the problem in under 10 minutes. An incredible feat given the complexity of the issue. By the time the sun began to rise, the R10s were still leading the pack. Then, on Sunday morning, the second R10 ran into trouble with a broken headlight, forcing another pit stop. But Audi's team was prepared, and the issue was fixed quickly. The resilience and efficiency of their crew kept them in the running. The second R10, driven by Tom Christensen, Dindo Capello, and Alan McNish, faced more significant issues, including a collision that required a turbocharger replacement. Yet, even with nearly an hour lost in the pits, they fought their way back to finish third. After 24 hours of grueling racing, the checkered flag waved, and Audi had done it. The R10 TDI secured first place, proving to everyone that diesel power wasn't just competitive, it was dominant. Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, reflecting on the monumental victory, said, "This was by far the most difficult and important win." Tom Christensen echoed that sentiment, saying, "Everybody will know what TDI power means." This wasn't just a win, it was a revolution. Diesel, once mocked and dismissed, was now the new king of endurance racing. And the impact was immediate. Other teams scrambled to develop their own diesel engines, realizing that Audi had changed the game forever. But for Audi, this win was more than a technological achievement. It was proof of their relentless spirit, their willingness to push boundaries, and their commitment to innovation. They didn't just walk the line between genius and madness, they owned it. And that, my friends, is why champions are champions. Not just because they win, but because they dare to change the game entirely.